and that change that we make, we're the ones who do not witness it. This is something that's going to happen later. One of our students, maybe when they're 25 or 26, they're going to say, oh my gosh, that teacher I had is just made a huge impact on me. So always remind yourself when you are about to feel I can't do this anymore, always tell yourself, I'm making a change. I'm making a difference in somebody's life. And that's a huge. And I think that's why we are in this field and in this career.
Thank you so much, Haifa. I love your attitude, by the way, and just really looking at it in a different way, almost looking at each and every window as a story, each and every name as a person, as a story, and really trying to be as compassionate as we can be, and to be as patient. And thank you for some of the tools that you also shared. One of the audience members also said that for me, in every online meeting, I try to talk to students for around 10 minutes, and then we begin the lesson. I think our audience member is a math teacher, so also trying to break the ice for about like however long it takes. Maybe it takes 10 minutes, maybe it takes 50. It's all worth it, right? It's all worth it to build the relationships that everybody, each one of you has mentioned, is actually the most important thing before the test results, before the class, before the curriculum, etc. Before I go back to Zainab, I want to invite a student who is among us, Muhammad Yusuf. He's a 7th grader. Are you here? Hi, Muhammad. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your age, your class, where you study, and also I wanted to hear about your experience as a student, as an online learner.
Thank you for introducing me. My name is Muhammad Yusuf. I'm in 7th grade at Riverside Middle School. Well, I learn everything. That's what happens at schools. From personal experience in schools, it's easier to focus in online classes since there aren't other students crowding around, whispering in the middle of class. Also, homework is less stressful since you don't have to go from paper to paper. You just have to click on the screen. The online resources are slightly easier. Not very. I mean, they're about equal. You get to spend more time with family since, well, you're in the home.
That's a good thing?
No. Wait, what?
Okay. That's a good thing?
Yeah, that's a good thing. The disadvantages is that you'll go outside less. You're stuck in home, COVID, doing stuff on your computer. It's also harder to make new friends and have relationships with the teachers and the other students since you're online. And finally, you don't know. Never mind. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Muhammad. It's so good to hear that, excuse me, even the students are aware that relationships are important, the relationships that they develop with their teachers as well. So they have seen that this is fundamental to their education as well. Thank you, Muhammad, for your insight and your experience. This is a good transition actually to, I guess what I wanted to ask Zainab was, how do we deal with the test-driven culture of our communities, / what skills are important for a 21st century learner?
Well, first, I don't know how to follow Muhammad. That was amazing. Well done, Muhammad. You are a brilliant young man, and I hope you consider becoming an educator one day, because I would sure want to learn from you. So in terms of, you're welcome, Habibi. In terms of the test-driven culture, what tests? I'm done. So I teach 11th grade for everybody's reference. That's the grade where everybody, that's where kids take the SAT. That's where they're state tested. I also teach AP English exclusively. So I teach AP Language and AP Literature, which are test-driven classes. But I've let go of the tests. And I'm very comfortable doing that, but that's probably because I'm an experienced teacher. And I think when you're a newer teacher, the test kind of is like a buoy. It's something for you to cling to. It gives you it feels like it gives you teeth in the classroom, right? But yeah, I've let go of the test. I first of all, I want to say I'm very fortunate to teach English literature because you can do so much with it. It's rigorous no matter what you do. You can teach students ethics through poems. And I think, so I'm very lucky in that way. So I try to kind of focus exclusively on things that are relevant to kids, like consumer culture, materialism, anxiety, the test-driven culture itself, education, kind of big life questions. And yeah, and my students, I teach at Fortson. So my students are all like, I try to tell them grades don't matter. Let go of the grade, the obsession with grades. And they're like, but miss, we have Arab parents. And I said, well, I have Arab parents too. I grew up with Arab parents as well. And your parents are, they have high expectations of you because they want the best for you, but they're also human beings who will understand if you try to have a conversation with them, that maybe try at some point, right? They'll understand that your learning is more important than your test scores and your grades. And I think nothing has proven this more than this pandemic. Every year in one of my classes, we read Freire. We read The Banking Concept of Education, because I think a lot of us have antiquated notions of education, that it's something that will get us somewhere. Like, I'm going to get a degree because it's going to make me money. But ultimately, the initial goal of education from a Socratic perspective is to build a holistic person, instill ethics in people, and try to come to the truth. And I think if we are if we reorient our view of education to being more about ethics and truth and kind of elevating ourselves as human beings, the test, what's the point of the test? The test scores will come or they won't, and that's okay. I've just, I'm very, the testing culture needs to go. And I think Carol said it earlier. She said it well. This is our chance to reform education. And unfortunately, all signs are indicating that we're probably not going to do that. But I remain hopeful that there are enough teachers who will resist in their individual classrooms, to the point where we will start our own revolution, and it will be an organic grassroots revolution. And down with the tests.
Yes, down with the tests. Thank you, Zainab, for sure. Thanks a lot. I mean, yes, reform is something that we really, really need to really take seriously. It's going to take a long time. We need to just recalibrate our priorities. Basically, I love that you're teaching your students the things that you're teaching. You're instilling the search for truth and curiosity. But also, I wondered about the skills that we instill in them for a 21st century learner. And because also the work market, like the professional market, has changed as well, not just the educational market. So tell me a little bit about that.
So, students are still reading and they're still writing. I'm just not obsessed with the benchmarks. And I see a question: how do we measure progress and evaluate areas of opportunities without some form of testing? The reality is, though, that tests only measure certain things. What is it? Einstein, who's one of the most misquoted people on the planet, I think he said that if you measure a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it'll always fail, essentially. So when you examine the tests, particularly the SAT, because that's the one I know best, right? It was a test created by a eugenist who wanted to prove that white people were superior to Blacks and Jews and immigrants. And so the fact that we're still taking a test like this, and that our students are anxious. Frankly, a lot of our students suffer from generalized anxiety disorder, largely because of the testing culture. And I've seen it get worse over my career, over the trajectory of my career. That's enormously problematic. So while I understand that we need to measure progress, et cetera, I think that there's standardized tests are, I have to kind of get on my soapbox here, show a lack of trust in teachers as professionals, because I'm looking at my student work and I understand my students' work and I understand where they need to go. Trust me to fill in the gaps. So there's that. But then in terms of the 21st century skills, you know, I do think this online world, it's the new reality, unfortunately, especially if kids are going to go the college route and then the white collar route. A lot of places are going to be, at least they're going to be work from home. I mean, a lot of companies and organizations are not going to waste money on office space at this point, right? For the foreseeable future. So I think that's important. But I'm going to, you know, kind of return to that buzzword of the night, relationships. I think the capacity to build authentic human relationships is a skill that we're losing in our modern world. And I still think it's one of the most important skills, if not the most important skill we can instill in our young people. Being good listeners, being critical thinkers. I think that's the biggest thing that I push in my class, and I can because I'm an English teacher, right? And we get to push that stuff. Although all teachers do, I get it, but like it's much easier for me, I guess. But I think that what we need to step away from this notion of, and I mean, this could be an unpopular opinion, but of workplace preparedness and kind of this capitalistic notion of education, again, and where it can get you, and push toward education as a way as a balm to the human spirit in a modern world that frankly doesn't care about the human spirit. So that's kind of where I stand on that. So yeah, it's good for them to have to be tech savvy. And I think they naturally are in so many ways. Young people are incredibly adept at picking up new skills. I mean, it's amazing, right? So put a new piece of machinery in front of them or a new technology in front of them, they will be fine. But I think that's the old fashioned. So I'm a little bit of an old fashioned teacher myself. So